Okay, last week um, we talked about some of the differences in the South, and you met my granddaughter Esther, who told you some of the little differences in the South. Well, now today I am in the South. I'm in sunny, hot Atlanta, yes, and this is granddaughter 3, Lydia. You met granddaughter 4, Esther, last week. Okay, this is granddaughter 3, Lydia. And Lydia is just about to turn 13, so she is just about to venture onto teenagerhood in another couple of days. Okay, and this week we're going to be talking about character development. So I thought that it might be interesting to see what somebody who is just about to become a teenager would tell us about how she has, as a person, has changed or grown or whatever in the last year or so. So what do you think, Lydia?
Um, well, I think I got better study habits, and I've learned how to make friends better, and I have better friends than I did in elementary school
Cool. Any idea why that's happened?
because there's more people, and because, like, I can see how my old friends act compared to how my new friends act, and I can see how my new friends are better.
Okay. So your world has kind of expanded a little bit, and as a result, you've kind of grown as a person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. You can go in now, and I'll finish the rest of my video, or you can sit here, whichever you want.
I'll go in.
Okay.
I
Thanks,
won't be
Lydia. Okay. So yes, I am in the sunny South, and actually later on today, you can see I have an Atlanta Braves jersey on, and we are going to an Atlanta Braves game today, which will be great fun because the Braves are in first place right now, and it should be a playoff team. So that's kind of cool. Okay, so this week we're talking about character development, how characters change or don't change in a work. And you just had an example from somebody who will be 13 within a couple of days. So, from a young person who realizes that she has changed over the course of the last year. Now, in short stories, sometimes we don't really have enough in the way of experiences for somebody to change, or some people just don't change, period. But sometimes we do. And Lydia, who went back inside, they're watching Batman, the Lego movie, Lego Batman, which is really a cool movie, by the way. I was watching it with him. It is so well written. Wow. But anyway, and by the way, down the road you'll experience a Batman movie in this class, so you can be prepared for that. Not Lego Batman, another one. But anyway, what character development is all about is how a character changes. So sometimes in a short story, there is not enough going on that a character can change. So sometimes a character is the same at the end of the story as the character was at the beginning of the story. That character doesn't change. So that kind of character development is referred to as static. The character does not develop. And when you read the lesson, you will see that there are 3 different categories of static or flat characters who do not change. Okay? So when you write this week, don't just say that a character is a flat character, but go into what kind of a flat character that character is. There are also characters like Lydia, and Lydia, you just saw, is a character who has changed in the last year, okay? So over the course of Lydia's story, which is, right for purposes of this video right now, the last year of her life, the time in junior high school or middle school, whatever they call it here, and she has changed during that time, and she gave you some examples of how she has changed. A dynamic character is a character who changes. A dynamic character is not the same character at the end of the work as that character was at the beginning of the work, okay? And it's important for you to realize what's going on with characters because, even in short stories, things happen with characters where they kind of surprise us with some of the stuff that can happen because they have changed, they have developed. through the things that go on in their life or through what they know or whatever, they can change. They can become a different person at the end of the story than they were at the beginning. So, let's look at some of the stuff we've already talked about. A Rose for Emily. Was Emily the same person at the end of the story as she was at the beginning of the story? There's two different ways of looking at that. It's not necessarily straight line, flat, this is the way it is, okay? Early on, Emily seemed like a very shy, retiring kind of person. Later on in the story, she seemed, toward the end of the story, we may or may not have come to realize that she was a shy, retiring person, and so she didn't change. Or we may think, wow, she changed a lot because she was willing to intimidate the druggist. She was willing to murder Homer. She was willing to do the unbelievable thing of sleeping with Homer as his body deteriorated, So you may or may not see Emily as having changed, okay? She may not have been the same shy, retiring person at the end as she was at the beginning, or she may have been, depending on how you personally interpret it, okay? So there's not necessarily, this character has to be this way. It depends on how you, as a reader, view them. And what you have experienced in your life helps you figure out how you interpret that character, helps you figure out if you see that character as one who is changing or as one who has not changed. So again, a dynamic character is not the same character at the end as he or she was at the beginning. Is it possible for somebody to go backwards? Yeah, somebody could be a dynamic character where early on in the story they were really pretty interesting, and later on in the story they were not a very nice person at all. Okay, or more ordinarily it's the other way. Okay, and a static character is pretty much going to be the same character without throughout the whole story. That character is not going to change throughout the story. Okay, so as you are reading the works this week, think about the characters. Think about if they're changing. Think about if they're the same at the end of the story as they are at the beginning. Is the character in A&P, the main character, is he really the same at the end of the story as he was at the beginning of the story? Or has he grown? In the Hawthorne story, okay? Does Georgiana change or not? It depends on how you see it, okay? You might see her as she's going to do what her husband tells her, period, she's a very, follow kind of person, or has she grown a lot? Has she become somebody different than she was at the beginning? So as you read through each story, think about those things, okay? Now, your video question this week is this. In the in the story, The Birthmark, we really only have 3 characters. And one of the characters is the lab assistant, okay? Now, what I want you to do is write out the lab assistant's name and then read it from right to left, okay? And when you read it from right to left, think about it. You'll see what the words are, okay? It actually becomes 2 words. And the second word it becomes is anima, which means animal or person, however you want to take it, okay? Would you say that Hawthorne was playing games with us with that name, or do you think that this character really is what his name is in reverse, okay? So email that to me. Have fun with it. Any questions on any of this stuff, send, email me, call me, text me, whatever you need to do, get in touch. And you have a good week. And have fun reading these, because they really are interesting stories.